Hi class, this is a review of the three macromolecules that are a big part of human diet and their structures and examples. So we're going to start with simple sugars, and the fundamental formula that you need to remember would be C6H12O6. Glucose is the blood sugar. It is a sugar that is accepted by all cells in the body and can be used to break down for energy. But there are variations to this formula. We have glucose, we have fructose, which is the sugar made from fruit. We have sucrose, which would be the bonding of glucose to fructose. That's what we call our table sugar. So these three sugars would be the most commonly found sugars that we would encounter. Now, what's amazing about sugar is that sugar can bond. You can form chains of sugar to form polymers, and these polymers can offer a greater amount of energy. So if we chain 50 sugars together, we would get a starch. If we chain a whole lot of these together in various dimensions, what we would see is that the bonding strength would increase and we would get cellulose. You can see the bonding is happening at various levels here. This would create cellulose. So all of these fundamentally, if they can be broken down, break down into this sugar. So just like a single page, a single piece of paper is very easy to rip, a chain of these or a strip of sugars would be harder to break down. Then we have our lipids, and lipids are going to be 3 fatty acids, attached to a glycerol molecule. And I'm going to keep this pretty simple. You would think of a chain. I'm going to draw it very simply. Remember, 18 carbon atoms. Not to say that they can't be more, but this is a general structure for a fatty acid chain. It means that there is a tremendous amount of energy within these carbon atoms that breaks down, which is why fats are so satiating. They satisfy you very long because it takes a long time for this to break down compared to something like sucrose. This is why this is good as just a food source and as a fuel source for burning, because it can also burn for a very long period of time. So an example of this would be cholesterol. It's a very important fat that is a major component of your hormones and of your cell membranes. And then proteins, I'm going to keep pretty simple. We're going to say that proteins are made up of, they're chains of amino acids. And I'm not asking you to learn the structures of the amino acids at this point, but we can think just chains of these structures all coming together into some unique configuration, and that will make up a protein. It will be hundreds or even thousands of amino acids chained together into a very unique structure. And these proteins make up the structures of the cell and the human body and of all of life. Enzymes are an example. We talked about an important enzyme, amylase. And amylase is an enzyme that helps to break down starch. Another example of proteins, we talked about keratin. And keratin is a primary protein that offers structure to your hair. The idea is your particular protein structure is slightly different than the protein structure of someone else. So they might have hair that is different texture. It simply means that the keratin that makes up their hair is slightly different. The recipe, the sequence of amino acids that make up their hair is slightly different than the sequence of amino acids that make up someone else's hair. So these are the 3 macromolecules. This is a brief introduction to these concepts. Make sure that you are able to draw all 3 macromolecules and come up with examples of each one and their functions.